Hello and welcome to Horror Court Trash Over, the show that discusses all of the masterpieces and trashterpieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
Welcome to Pride Month.
Welcome to Pride Month.
And a slightly delayed episode that was supposed to be released on Tuesday. But hey, do you know what? It's worked out for the better because it's the end of an era and we're ending this era where we started it in Pride Month.
Oh, is that true?
It is. It is.
Yeah, it is true.
Back in Pride Month 2 years ago, I believe it was, we discussed Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2 with Jack from Passage del Terror. And we are back today to finish the franchise. We've been making our way through them. And we finally bring you Hellraiser Through the Years, Part 5, the final chapter, until they make another one.
Yeah.
What a journey.
It's been tough. It's been tough. Fucking hell.
I'm glad
I'd heard they were bad, but fucking hell.
Yeah, today we're talking about what was the first time watch for me, and honestly, it's just fucking abysmal.
Jesus.
But,
Christ.
I mean, spoiler alert, we will be ending on a more positive note than we've ended on the last few Hellraiser episodes.
So when we started Hellraiser Through the Years,
yeah,
the remake wasn't even
made.
Wasn't even thought of.
No, well,
it would probably thought.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Gary.
There's a few bits of tea to spill in this episode. But first up, the question we always ask during our Pride Month episodes: what makes these films queer? Now, obviously, created by Clive Barker, gay icon. Yeah.
Were you asking or telling?
Asking and telling. Do you agree?
I agree. I very much agree.
And of course, the first Hellraiser film is massively queer. Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is as well. You know, it's very easy to take certain allegories from these films. To be honest, this is the only one we could have done in Pride Month, this episode, because in between with 3 and 9, they're not very gay.
No, they're not.
And they kind of lose what Hellraiser's about, which thankfully is something the remake manages to bring back slightly. And of course, what makes these films queer, massive milestone for the LGBTQ plus community. The remake is the first major horror franchise film to have a trans actress in the lead.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, as the horror icon, and she's not the lead, but she's the horror icon.
But she's the lead villain. You know, the one everyone knows, the face on the poster. It's groundbreaking. Yeah, it really is. I mean, obviously this year, this obviously Hellraiser 2022 was straight to video on demand. Evil Dead Rise this year is the first theatrically released major horror franchise film with a trans actor, and it's great to see this sort of progress. Since last Pride Month, you know?
Yeah, and horror in many ways has been a great place to, you know, bring these things into place and to push these boundaries, break those glass ceilings. Horror's always been a great place for that, because horror in essence is about, you know, extremes and going against the norm, and if you understand what I mean, and going against the conservative way of things. And I think it's fantastic. Love to see it.
But sadly, before we get to Hellraiser 2022, there's an elephant in the room we need to discuss. A film that is certainly not queer.
No.
It's Hellraiser Judgment from 2018. Judgment spelled in a really weird way. Judgment without the E before the M.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I just completely ignored that and spelt it correctly. Oh, that's good. Good for me.
A film that was only greenlit into production because Dimension Films was about to lose the rights to the Hellraiser franchise. The last film, Hellraiser Revelations, remember that one, hun?
I certainly fucking do.
Was released 7 years prior to this. Filming took place in Oklahoma, sharing a filming location where children of the corn run away Both films being produced by Michael Lehigh. Children of the Corn, another franchise that probably should have ended by now.
Why are they throwing this shit out?
Okay,
What is that?
again, tell us all this time. Dimension Films trying the hardest to cling onto the rights to this franchise. Guys, let it go.
Yeah.
Fucking let it go. Honestly.
I don't understand what the rights mean to them on a day-to-day basis. Just in terms of, you know, why wouldn't they just give up the rights if they're not doing anything with it? If they're not making a profit from it? Or is the merchandising so good that it's worth throwing away money? Yeah. Unless this fucking film made me. Did it make money?
It certainly did not.
It was straight to video, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
when you look up this sort of thing, you know, why would a studio want to lose rights? One of the most obvious ones is so they can keep the rights, so they can make new films and bring in new audiences. Who is this film made for? This film is so lazy. I mean, it's slightly more inventive than Revelations, but at the same time, this ain't going to bring in anyone new. No. And it's not going to satisfy Hellraiser fans either. You know, no. It's just bullshit. And you know what? When this was announced, and they revealed the guy who played Pinhead last time wasn't coming back, I was like, okay, thank God. Maybe this might be good. They released the trailer, fucking very flattering to this film. I thought maybe there's a chance it could be good. Honestly, no. It's fucking abysmal. It's awful.
I didn't even remember the trailer.
We both watched it and said, oh, wow, this could be a good one. No, of course not. Written and directed by Gary J. Tunnicliffe, who was the writer of Hellraiser Revelations.
Oh.
And as you may recall from the last episode, he's the director of Within the Rock, Hansel and Gretel 2002, Jack and the Beanstalk 2009. He did special effects for Feast, Blade, Wishmaster, Sleepy Hollow, and more. Special effects, not awful.
Yeah. They're not terrible.
No, yeah.
They're not terrible.
Better than the last one.
They are what they are. The problem is when it comes to stuff like that, when you get to the point where you stop caring, it doesn't matter how good the special effects are. No. Really. Because everything else is so bad.
Yeah. Based on characters, of course, by Clive Barker. I'm sure he loved having his name associated with that again. Budget, $350,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They really didn't give a shit. They did not give a shit at all. They just needed to cling on to those rights for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
And it was straight to video on demand, of course.
It's a weird industry, isn't it? Film.
It really is. This franchise is, and now that we've finished it and we've seen all of the films now, I'm sure we could both agree this is the worst horror franchise of all time.
In my opinion, from the franchises that I've seen, so I haven't seen like Leprechaun, or I haven't seen Puppet Master, or
Children of the Corn.
Is it Camp Blood?
No,
we haven't seen those franchises. But from the ones that I have seen, this is by far even worse than Paranormal Activity. This is by far the worst horror franchise. It's dismal.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with stuff like Camp Blood, those are films being made on a very tiny budget. You know, they're doing their own thing. It's hard to really say that's a terrible horror franchise because obviously you're going to expect a terrible horror franchise going into it. You watch the first two Hellraiser films.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
No excuse.
The formula has been set up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been set up, put in place for people. The novels exist. Clive Barker has many other pieces of work you could reference. You know, there's so much you can do with this franchise. And up until the remake between 3 and 9, it's just all out the window.
Yeah.
It's like you go from them trying to make Pinhead a slasher icon like Freddy Krueger to all of the 7 remakes that they do. And then the internet one, which was only more watchable because it was so fucking ridiculous. And then, you know, Revelations trying to remake the first film. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess. And there is no excuse for it to be all over the place.
No.
I mean, most of it you can't blame on those pieces of shit that are the Weinsteins. Because they were very much there, like, pointing people in certain directions when it came to the sequels 4 onwards. And they banned Clive Barker from having any involvement with them. So you can blame them, fully. Actually, not even to a certain extent. It is their fault. It's their fault. If they didn't poke their noses in so much, then maybe we wouldn't be getting to such lows as this, Deader, and Revelations.
I think it's a difficult one. Like I said, with the film industry, it's a very strange industry because there are dodgy dealings. But maybe they're a little more evident.
Yeah.
Because we enjoy, a lot of other businesses have their dodgy dealings behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily come out. But this dodgy dealing is on IMDb's trivia page.
Yeah.
It's evident. It's a bad product.
Mm-hmm.
And the film industry is one of those strange things. And I'm not saying people should go and ask for refunds. But you don't. If you get a bad product, you don't get a refund.
No.
If I bought this on DVD, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I think it's shit.
Yeah.
I've been missold.
Yeah.
On this because the trailer made it look better.
Mm-hmm.
I've been missold. If I ordered at McDonald's and it tasted like horse crap, I'd want a refund. In films, you don't. So they can just throw out any old shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if people are intrigued, they are going to buy it, they are going to watch it, and they've thrown their money down the shitter.
No, absolutely.
Fortunately, by this point, I would, apart from for the podcast, I would never have spent any money. If I'd been watching them consistently, I would have given up probably halfway through.
Yeah.
I would have given up.
You mentioned the DVD, and like you said, the trailer kind of made it look better than it actually was. The DVD's not fooling anyone. Why the fuck does Pinhead look like a fucking Pez dispenser on the front cover? Like, it's got a fucking long neck like a giraffe, and then his head just stuck on the end of it. Like, they're not even trying.
No.
But yeah, and then also another thing I say a lot when people complain about franchises not giving a shit about the fans and so on and everything, and just releasing films for 6 months. But okay, the film industry is a money making business. People have to keep releasing this stuff to make a living. No one's making any fucking money off these films. And they don't give a shit about the fans. So for me, that's just irredeemable.
But there must be something in it to get money from it. So there must be something.
But it's not even like it's that much merchandise.
It'd be interesting to know. But if they have the rights, then do they have the rights to all the films? So when a new deluxe Blu-ray edition of Hellraiser comes out, if somebody, if a new NECA figure comes out, it's got to be worth something to them. So I would probably hazard to guess that to them it's worth more than $350,000.
Yeah.
And therefore it was worth throwing this crap out to, and they probably made some money from it. Not a profit.
No.
But people did buy the DVD. Some people must have bought, they made at least 10 quid off it. So it must have been worth their return, whether that's through having the rights to all the films or, the DVD together collectively must have been worth more than $350,000 to them.
Yeah.
And that's where the business aspect of film comes in. And it's a very interesting aspect. I do find it very fascinating. But as a consumer, it leaves us this dog turd that we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the people who lost their minds and agreed to be in the cast.
Oh, no. I'd say, actors.
Let's talk about who's in it.
Make some money.
Well,
let's talk about it in a section we like to call, Hey, Hell, I Know You.
Damon Carney is in this as Detective Sean Carter, and spoiler alert, the preceptor.
Oh,
Star of Logan, The
right.
Hitcher 2007, The Lone Ranger, Jerry Bruckheimer's Chase, The Harrowing, The
The
Veil,
Chase.
and more. Yeah. The producers, at his request, contacted Damon Carney's wife and secretly obtained stories and intense moments from his past that were then, without his prior knowledge, used during the scene when he is audited. At the end of the lengthy and harrowing take where Carney yelled out, "What the fuck just happened?" I genuinely freaked out. It was, well, I mean, obviously you don't see that as behind the scenes, but it was because he didn't know any of that was going to be said. Guys, come on, don't go to that much effort. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Don't leak this guy's secrets just for this fucking film.
Why? Why don't you just trust someone to act?
I know.
This
Wow.
is what I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, but or put some more money in the budget and get someone who maybe has more experience of acting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it now. No one in this film does a good job. Everyone's a bit shit. We'll get to that. Randy Wayne plays Detective David Carter. He was in To Save a Life, Reagan, The Dukes of Hazzard, The Beginning. Yes, there is a prequel to the Dukes of Hazzard film.
Oh, ew.
First Class Fear, Deadly Dawn, Cheer for Your Life, and more.
Oh, do you know who's in that prequel?
Who?
Jonathan Bennett
Oh no.
from Mean Girls. And Sherilyn Fenn.
No.
Yeah. Doug Jones.
What?
Yeah. And what's his name? Willie Nelson.
Well, he was in the main one.
Well, he was in the music video with Jessica Simpson.
No, he's in the film.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I used to have taste.
Well, I brought you on DVD for Christmas one year, so
You did.
you need to watch it.
And I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'll be really upset if you don't watch it. I have seen it. It is awful. Alexandra Harris plays Detective Christine Egerton.
Yeah.
She was in All Light Will End, The Veil, I'm Dying Up Here, as watching this franchise,
Duh.
1,000 Tomorrows, The Soulmate Search, Collar Rivalry, and more.
Right. Never heard of him.
Heather Langenkamp
Oh, who's that?
is in this as the landlady. Of course, you'll know her as the star of Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 3, and New Nightmare, Just the 10 of Us, The Midnight Club, The Demolitionist, and more. She's given third billing in the opening credits. She's only on screen for 45 seconds.
Yeah. Well, you would, though, wouldn't you? If you had Heather Langenkamp in your film for 5 seconds, you'd put her up there.
That's honestly just as bad as Tippi Hedren in Birdemic.
Oh, yeah. No, not really. I don't think Tippi Hedren. I think Tippi Hedren's worse because I don't actually think she agreed to be in Birdemic. She was forced into it. At least Heather Langenkamp. She must have signed some sort of contract for 45 seconds.
I really hope she got paid a decent amount for it.
At least a new fridge.
And Paul T. Taylor. Paul T. Taylor plays Pinhead.
Yes.
Paul T. Taylor, star of Sin City, Alternative Math, Super, Andromeda, The Torturer, Night Night, The Purge TV series, Sick for Toys, Love on Repeat, and more. So, fun fact, when Doug Bradley, the original Pinhead, was asked in an interview what his advice would be to Paul T. Taylor, who plays Pinhead, he sarcastically answered, well, according to Gary J. Turncliffe, Mr. Taylor has the screen presence of Peter Cushing and Ralph Fiennes, so he won't need any help from me, will he?
Is that an actual quote?
An actual quote. An avid Doctor Strange fan, Gary J. Turncliffe, he sculpted the symbol of the famed Eye of Agamotto into the new version of Pinhead's leather robes, as well as adding a diamond-shaped skin section in honor of Leviathan in the torso, as well as long threadbare robe and real metal chain mail. Butcher's apron to the ensemble. What a waste of time that was.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks shit.
Yeah.
It really looks naff. It looks, you know, carving your Doctor Strange symbol into it hasn't made a bit of difference, mate. It looks like fucking you've been to a fancy dress shop and got Hellraiser costume because they couldn't get the rights. Paul T. Taylor described playing Pinhead as a dream come true. According to Taylor, he said, Pinhead was always my favourite horror icon because he was the most twisted and intelligent in my mind. The American actor used a false British accent when portraying a character.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Due to his belief that Pinhead has to be British. Gary J. Tunnicliffe gave Taylor room to create his own interpretation of Pinhead, as Taylor brought an intentional vulnerability to the role.
Oh.
In addition to prior knowledge, Taylor used Hellraiser comic books as preparation for the film.
God bless you, Paul T. Taylor.
Paul
you
T.
wasted
Taylor.
your time.
I mean, I don't even know what to say.
It's a shame, really.
You really thought he was doing something here.
Yeah, it's a shame because it does kind of sound a little like the people involved were fans of the franchise, or at least the first one or two films, and they've been given a micro budget, really, and they tried their best, but it didn't work out.
Do you not think he has the screen presence of Peter Cushing and Ralph Fiennes?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk some more about that for our first feature presentation.
There's hell to pay.
So we start in Hal. Get straight to it.
We end in hell.
We're going to be there for the next hour and 18 minutes.
Or what is meant to be hell on a shoestring budget.
Someone's spare room. Pinhead from the Cenobite sect and the auditor of the Stygian Inquisition are discussing how to adapt their methods of harvesting souls in the face of advancing human technology that is making the configurations gateways to hell obsolete. The makeup for the auditor was originally a concept pitch for a reimagined Pinhead look. The cosmetics were shown to the studio when Hellraiser was originally optioning a full reboot. When a direct sequel was decided instead, they kept the designs and recycled them into this new character. And I fucking hate this character.
I hate this character.
First scene is obnoxious. Just the two of them talking shit.
Absolute shite.
So, oh, hell. That's all it is.
The first lines of the film are Pinhead as he holds and solves the lament configuration, saying, obsolete, irrelevant in an age when desire has become... And that's just these fucking sequels. Obsolete and irrelevant. All of them.
Very fitting.
In an age when desire has become amplified, but where lust can be sated electronically, we need something more than just a wooden box. The auditor says, there is a mechanism. The house is ready. We can adapt. Pinhead says, technology may have advanced, but sin remains unchanged. Pure greed, lust, lies, betrayal. The auditor, the new millennium hurtles forward. Faith is lost. Mankind have become a vacuum without morality. So many souls seeking new and darker experiences. Degradation upon degradation. Sin after sin. To which Pinhead replies, so then those are the souls we shall seek out first.
They're not even replying to each other. It's just random words.
They're just talking shit. I kind of get what they mean, but I don't, because it's so fucking long-winded. It's just bullshit.
Carl Watkins is invited.
I just did way more justice, by the way.
You did.
I sounded really good. I thought I did a great job.
I think you had the screen presence of Peter Cushing, to be honest.
Well, okay. Yeah, I can live with that.
Carl Watkins.
What about Ray Fiennes?
Not quite. We'll wait for later quotes.
Well, I think we mean like Voldemort.
Carl Watkins is invited to speak with the auditor. He's strapped to a wheelchair, and the auditor asks him various questions about his past. Some sweaty guy has the now in a bizarre series of events, but I feel like I'm giving the film far too much credit by saying it's bizarre, because this next 5 minutes or so is trying so desperately to be edgy that it's not even shocking. It just made me roll my fucking eyes. Again, they've completely misunderstood what makes the Hellraiser franchise work by throwing in a bunch of stuff that they think will shock people. He has the tears of children in a jar, then eats a plate of paper in great detail before throwing it all back up into a bucket with a tube attached to it. The vomit falls into a tray where 3 half-naked girls with cut-up faces rub their hands through it and tell the auditor to kill Carl. That's just, like, so unnecessary.
Yeah, and it's from a trough, isn't it? And they're kind of eating the puke themselves.
Yeah, it's like, come on, what are you doing?
What's most horrifying is that the guy eating the paper is a older man. He's a heavy-set man.
Yeah.
He's got an open jacket with no shirt on underneath, which is horror 101.
Yeah,
absolutely disgusting, disgraceful.
Yeah, this man was only employed because he's overweight, and they think that's disgusting.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to get. I've never seen the films. I don't really intend to. Human centipedes?
Not quite.
No.
But
I
in that
thought
same
it had
vein,
the look of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's in the same.
filter.
Yeah, no. When you put it like that, that's true. It has got that sort of filter to it. That sort of dirty, gritty filter, which looks ugly as fuck. By the way, and not in a good way. It's just they're trying too hard. Pinhead is not trying too hard, however. He sits back in his chair and has a think about life. Now, I hope you enjoyed that shot, because you're going to get it again soon.
Get it a lot.
Carl is strapped to a table.
He is.
A group of women start eating his clothes off.
They do.
A demon crying with a baby's voice.
These are older women, but still half naked.
Yeah.
The horror of it all.
I know, right? A demon crying with a baby's voice walks in, and there's lots of clothing there. There's clearly something being hidden. There's a mask on as well. The surgeon, in leather with a gas mask, appears out of the demon's back and slices at Carl's skin with 2 blades. They then remove the skin, and the 3 half-naked women from before are covered in Carl's blood. And that's the opening of the film.
That's the opening of the film. The women, I thought they were licking him, but I don't know what they were doing.
They're eating his clothes off.
They were eating his clothes off. Well, they said, you must be clean on the inside too. Whatever that means.
We get the opening credits on burning pieces of paper with the shit score playing whilst the auditor types stuff.
Oh,
The score in this.
it's really bad.
How do you go from a film with one of the greatest horror scores of all time to this?
Yeah. Just copy it, for fuck's
Yes, just
sake.
copy it.
You own the fucking rights.
Yeah.
Just fucking copy it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on Earth, a drunk girl called Crystal is getting out of her Uber. She's like, Uber Black, my ass. You're just a piece of shit.
Yeah. I didn't know. I don't think we get Uber Black in the UK.
I feel like it's the
posh
one.
version. No, it's the posh version. So it's the nice, like, I don't know,
The comfort one.
Tesla, or like
Yeah.
Range Rover. Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that what comfort is? I thought comfort meant more legroom.
No, just like leather seats and shit like that.
Oh. Okay.
She goes to her apartment and finds a bunch of candles set up, which she blames on a guy called Josh, who she wants a quickie with. And she says, I'm drying up real fast here. This weirdo in the dark thing is only a turn on for a few minutes.
Yeah, you know I hate unattended candles in films, don't I?
You do. A guy appears out of nowhere and hits her. And she's like, "Oh, what do you want?" And he's like, "To make a lesson out of you."
Yeah. Right.
3 detectives, brothers Sean and David Carter, and Christine Egerton. I've got in my notes pronounced Edgerton. Apologies.
Oh.
Thanks for the little reminder there, Pascari. Investigate a serial killer known as the Preceptor, whose murders are based on the 10 Commandments. Oh, that sounds familiar. Where have we heard this before? Could this be another 7 fan script turned into a Hellraiser film?
It could very well be. Sean is the quiet, brooding type.
Yeah.
But believes the murders remind him of A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. He refers to it as the best-selling novel of all time, which didn't sound true.
No.
I had to Google it. I was like, that doesn't sound right. And it's true.
It's true?
It is true. It is true.
Wow.
A Tale of Two Cities is the best-selling novel of all time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's random.
That's... Yeah, okay. I was going to say something, but I won't say it. Oh, no, I'm going to say it. That's assuming we consider the Bible a work of non-fiction.
I'm sure that's a big seller. They realised that the...
I did put in my notes, who knew Hellraiser Judgment would turn into a learning moment?
I know.
A Tale of Two Seas. And you might think, oh, Chris, why do you keep bringing up A Tale of Two Seas? Because the fucking film will continuously bring up A Tale of Two Cities.
They realise that the Preceptor placed Crystal's dog in her stomach and stitched her stomach up after. They take the dog out, and again, it doesn't deserve bizarre series of events. It's, again, just trying so desperately to be shocking. The dog was her baby, so he put it in her womb. You know, the writer sat there like, damn, that's fucking deep.
Really, yeah. That's really going to get the audience going. Do you know what? It's 2018. I reckon people have forgotten about 7. should we just say 10 Commandments? Go on.
Sean goes home to his wife Alison. It's her birthday and she's sitting alone in their disgusting looking kitchen with a cigarette and a glass of wine. And she's there like, happy birthday to me.
She's drunk, she's fuming, and she's camp.
She is. Someone gets... yeah, I don't think it's camp by design, no.
No. But, I mean, I have just described you on your birthday.
Well, thank you. Someone gets their tooth pulled out by the Preceptor, who also saws their arm off. The detectives find blood in jars, severed arms, and teeth in the park. And then...
Yeah, so they find it at the playground, and is it Christina? She says...
Christina?
Christine.
Edgerton.
Egerton.
Yeah. Christina,
Egerton.
Yeah.
She says, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Which again means absolutely nothing. Means nothing.
Oh.
And I question, why is it just the 3 of them at the park?
Yeah.
Where are the other police? Why hasn't the area been taped off?
Guys, you know what's really edgy? Severed body parts in a child's playground.
Yes, and budget constraints.
We get the same shot of Pinhead sitting back in his chair and thinking about life. Oh, why did I decide to be in this film?
That was me when I was like, why did I decide to watch this film? Oh, wait, I didn't. Somebody chose it for the podcast.
Well, we had to get through it. A connection with one of the victims leads the detectives to Carl Watkins from the start of the film, who we learn was a local criminal and pervert. We find out he went missing when the detectives go to his house and are greeted by none other than horror icon Heather Langenkamp in cheap leopard print clothes.
Yeah, they very nonchalantly discuss how the local girls' school had filed a restraining order against Carl for jerking off whilst watching the gym classes.
Yeah.
But they're very nonchalant about it.
Uh-huh.
So this makes me think at the beginning, when the auditor and Pinhead were chatting shit, that they were basically saying, well, what we're going to do is get people who deserve it.
I mean, yeah. So then,
which is in keeping with the
Saw.
Ten Commandments thing and the Saw thing, and it's all really muddled. But less about that, more about Heather Lang.
Yeah, she says he's not in. That cocksucker owes me 2 months' rent. He has been here for a couple of days. And they're like, oh, well, he maybe he's hiding inside. So if he is, he'll be freezing his ass off because I cut his power yesterday. And then they start talking about what he's doing in there. She's like, honey, what those boys are doing in there, no one knows anything about it. And that's it.
And
She's
that's
gone. That's it.
She rocks up in, like Gary said, the cheapest looking leopard print blouse. She serves high camp
She does.
and fucks off.
The best thing about the film.
Best thing about the film. Let's not get it twisted though. Hasn't affected the star rating. But it's the best thing about the film.
It is. It is. We do love a bit of Heather.
Love a bit of Heather Lang in camp.
She will be back later this year.
Ooh.
His apartment is a dump. And
Why we're covering Nickel Mountain.
his apartment is a dump, and they find a lot of porn in there, to which Christina says, he has quite the right arm. Doesn't seem like the Preceptor type. What does that even mean? Why do you think the Preceptor doesn't have a strong right arm? He sawed someone's fucking arm off.
But the whole idea is that the Preceptor is killing based off of the Ten Commandments. So he's killing people that he thinks are sinning. So if somebody gives themselves a treat too often, then they're sinners. Right, okay.
Sean goes back to Carl's house and searches his MacBook for his last seen location. He goes to the abandoned house where Carl met the Auditor. He loses consciousness and wakes up in the Stygian Inquisition's domain in hell. Sean discusses various incidents from his life with the Auditor and informs him that only God can judge him. So forget all the haters because somebody loves you. Miley Cyrus. Also, this was the big scene where he was spilling the tea on his real life stuff. Honestly, I switched it. I couldn't give a shit.
Oh my god, I literally
really
have in my
don't
notes.
care.
They talk absolute shite. I genuinely could not give a fuck.
His life clearly isn't that interesting.
So we find out, and whoa.
What?
Well, I got a few tidbits from
Did you get it down?
No. But I did figure out that we find out Sean was in the military and killed many people during service.
Oh dear.
I did put, they're really trying to say something here, but I feel
That might just be about the actor.
whatever it is lost on me. Yeah. Oh, wow. Ooh.
Jesus.
Wow. Yeah. Ew.
If that is true, then can you imagine like showing up to work one day and they're like, "Oh, do you remember that time you killed a lot of people?"
Yeah.
Well, that'll get a reaction out of him.
That's not cool.
No.
That's really bad. Ew.
Yeah.
The paper-eating dude tries to eat paper again, but starts bleeding and crying. Why? I'm not so sure.
Well,
And that's it. That
it
happened.
leads to the camp angel Jophiel in a white pantsuit who intervenes and tells them to release him. Yes, this Hellraiser film has angels as well as demons.
Let's be clear. Cheap white pantsuit. And with nothing underneath the jacket.
No.
Which isn't very angelic. Because, spoiler alert, she's on the killer's side.
Yeah.
Who's killing based on the Ten Commandments.
Uh-huh.
So, how holy is it to not wear anything under your jacket? I mean, if it wasn't so cheap, it would be a serve.
Yeah.
A little more expense had gone into it.
She thought it was, though. She really thought she was fucking slaying.
It would be a serve, but it's not very angelic.
No. And it doesn't... We don't get to see it for long anyway, until later on in the film.
Well, Sean gets the same licking as well, doesn't he?
He does.
That's carded earlier. But now they spit into small bowls and feed it to him.
Mhm.
Again, saying that he should be clean on the inside too. Yawn. Literally wrote yawn. Yawn. Boring.
Sean escapes the realm with a stolen lament configuration, and the auditor requests Pinhead's guidance on the matter. I was like, can you just give me some advice here, Pinhead? Kind of got away. An angel showed up. Not good. Pinhead is on his chair again in the same room as Chatterer. So the sound effects there, like teeth constantly moving. When it shows you him, his teeth aren't moving.
No.
Don't bother. If you're not going to make his teeth move, don't bother putting him in the film. The twin Cenobites from Hellraiser Inferno are there, and they're there. And Pinhead just can't be asked.
Oh, go on, Pinhead, give us nothing.
He literally tells the auditor they don't need to go looking for him because he'll find him eventually. Let's just relax. Don't worry. Don't get her eventually. I'm enjoying sitting down.
Yeah, just calm down.
He's screen presence of Ray Fiennes and fucking Peter Cushing. The guy does nothing. He does nothing.
He's got the screen presence of an aubergine.
And that's being generous. Sean and his brother...
Oh, wait, doesn't that mean dick in emojis?
Yeah. Sean and his brother return to search the house, finding no trace of Hal or the Inquisition. That night, he's haunted by visions of the Cenobites. At first, he has a dream where they're putting a mask on him and pouring wax on it for some reason. Then he sees Allison as a Cenobite when they're having sex. Then Hal's denizens knock him out on the street. And...
One thing sorry to interrupt, but one thing that really annoys me is these sex scenes in films. Number one, why is the sex scene here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is the purpose?
I mean, technically, it's Hellraiser. There should be more sex scenes.
There should be. But then he jumps out of bed straight away when she looks like a Cenobite. Mm-hmm. But he's in his underwear. So I don't know why she was enjoying herself that much, because... I don't know. He must be very good at foreplay.
He gets knocked out on the street, and he's promised judgment and redemption to anyone who opens the box. Sean informs his brother that only God can judge him.
Yeah. Can anyone smell a twist?
Sean and Christine go to the coroner's office and find that a cell phone of one of the Preceptor's victims was stored in her body, recording her final location with its GPS.
Oh. Well, David finds Sean's copy of A Tale of Two Cities with phrases similar to the Preceptor's wordings highlighted. After this cell phone, final location...
You got a dialogue?
No. Christine, do you get Christine questioning him?
No, but I get her saying, serial killer caught by smartphone.
Well, before this, Christine questions Sean on the way there... On the way there, about his love for novels, and again, he only actually mentions A Tale of Two Cities. And I feel like A Tale of Two Cities has been partly chosen to replace the Bible, as the filmmakers may have feared ruffling some Christian feathers.
They couldn't get the rights to the Bible.
But then there's also a few references to the Bible directly later on, and the whole Ten Commandments thing. So I'm really not sure why A Tale of Two Cities. It is, admittedly, a novel I'm not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is it was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people only know that quote from it, despite it being the best-selling novel of all time. So the reference is going to go over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah.
So why is it there? Right.
Well, they find the Preceptor's hideout where Sean incapacitates Christine and reveals himself as the killer by showing her a picture of David sleeping with Allison. David deduces the Preceptor's identity and meets with the coroner to find the building. Upon arrival, Sean disarms David and Allison, because she's there as well, who also arrives, and he gives them the world's most fucking boring speech about how much he hates the modern world. So, oh my god, just kill me. Just honestly, just put me out of misery.
Oh, is that everyone on their mobile phones? I loathe the modern world. Everybody hates me. And I hate them. Blah, blah, blah.
He forces David and Allison to open the box at gunpoint. summoning the Cenobites and opening a gateway to their realm. Aware that someone from Hell would come to collect his soul after his initial escape, Sean attempts to offer Allison and David to Pinhead. And Pinhead says, I knew you'd find me eventually. After all, evil recognizes evil.
Game recognizes game. How did David know straight away how to open the box? Like, Sean just tells him to open it, and he starts rubbing the top in a circular motion with his thumb. But, like, straight away. He doesn't even, like, mess about with it, like they do in previous films, trying to figure it out. Straight away, thumb on top, circular motion, done.
May I remind you, in
Bob's
one of
your
the
uncle.
other films, it's just thrown on the floor and opens itself.
That is
By
very
this point in the
true.
franchise, it is the most it's the easiest thing to fucking open.
It
was
is.
strange seeing it in the remake, people putting effort into opening it.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like for the whole franchise, it's not really been a puzzle box.
No.
Because it kind of just happens by itself the majority of the time. Or just, like, it's a puzzle box, but you, like, press something and everything happens, and you're like, that's not really a puzzle, my dear.
Pinhead tells them they'll be dealt with for opening the box, but because a separate faction of Hell wanted his soul, no deal will be made.
Did Alison even touch the box?
No, she was just there. Like,
She was
whilst
just there.
Everyone opened it. The auditor appears, telling Sean the Inquisition has found him guilty of his sins. And then that bad bitch Joe Field comes back and protests to Pinhead and the auditor that Sean is part of Heaven's plan to instill fear into sinners.
Ooh.
Pinhead arranges for Christine to kill Sean and spitefully murders Joe Field with his chains, tearing her apart after she says, Jesus wept. Oh. So they have watched the first one.
But they have. There is a lot of time where they're just talking absolute shit.
Yeah, this is like an angel versus Pinhead, and it is literally just a conversation.
Yeah, no, it's literally pain. You don't know the meaning of the words. Suffer. You will suffer. No, you will suffer. No, you will suffer. Oh, suffer. Oh.
If you're gonna go as far as doing something as stupid as bringing an angel in to face off against Pinhead, you better camp that shit up. You better have her firing electricity bolts out of her hands.
Yeah.
You know, make it fucking stupid. It's a stupid idea. But no, it is literally just a conversation. Then he rips her apart.
Oh my goodness.
And then the auditor's like, you probably shouldn't have done that. And as punishment, God makes Pinhead watch this film from the beginning. He expels Pinhead from Hell and forces him to walk the earth as a mortal man in an hilariously awkward final scene. I was like, no.
It feels a bit iffy though, because not only does he have to live as a mortal man,
he's a homeless man.
but a homeless man.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
Well,
is that what we're doing?
It doesn't end there, because in a post-credit scene, a group of Mormon missionaries in Germany approach a house and are captured by the Stygian Inquisition. And we hear the auditor say, 2, and it isn't even a Tuesday.
Why? Why
is the fucking auditor referencing Domino's?
Oh, shut up. Is that what I want? Why? Why does this scene exist? What is it for? Why are they living
The sequel.
Why are they living in Germany?
I know. Why is the house in Germany?
Why is the house in Germany? Why is Pinhead not in Germany?
That's Hellraiser Judgment. And that is the end of the franchise before it is rebooted.
Yes, thank God. Talk about amateur hour. Really, just what even was that?
Absolute fucking waste of a film. Like, waste of people's time and effort. It's just a mess. It's a disaster. It is a disaster.
It really is. It's so... it's boring.
Yeah.
But even the parts that are meant to be edgy are really boring.
It's only discussing it now for the podcast that I realise how little actually happens in that film.
Yeah. It is. If there's two good things about the film, and it's still not enough to warrant a higher star rating. But there's two good things. It's Heather, and it's the fact that it doesn't go an hour and a half.
Yeah.
At least it has the decency to be an hour and 20. I wish that was just 20 seconds. Because it really is just a complete waste of time.
Uh-huh.
It bears almost no resemblance to Hellraiser,
Yeah.
the first film. And I talk about the first film because the first film is Hellraiser. Just copy that shit time and time again, and I'd be entertained. You don't have to go wild in the aisles and grab a bit of Seven and grab a bit of Human Centipede, grab a bit of Saw, grab a bit of this, that, and the other. It's not necessary.
It's not.
Oh,
It's not. It's absolute fucking bottom of the barrel trash.
it is. I'm sorry.
And yeah, for ratings, I give it 1 angel pantsuit out of 10.
I give it 1 Tale of One City out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash or basic. It is no surprise that it is trash.
Trash. It is trash.
It's available on DVD, Blu-ray, and video on demand. You know, some great films have still not had a Blu-ray release, and this film has.
Blu-ray?
Yeah.
No.
If you enjoyed this, check out Seven, because seriously, if you're still going through the franchise, stop watching the shitty detective sequels. Watch Seven or watch Saw.
Yeah, I basically said if you enjoyed this, check out any of the other god-awful sequels in the franchise. So I'm not the only one that has to suffer. Suffer? You don't know the meaning of the words.
And that brings us to the final Hellraiser film as of today. Hellraiser 2022, the remake. So this does have an history.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In October 2006, Clive Barker announced through his official website that he would be writing the script to a forthcoming remake of the original Hellraiser film to be produced by Dimension Films. In October 2007, Julian Maury and Alejandro Bastillo were eyed to direct. By January 2008, the project, then titled Clive Barker Presents Hellraiser, was delayed to an unspecified date in 2009 following the studio's dissatisfaction with Maury and Bastillo's script.
Okay.
In February 2008, Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton were tapped for a page 1 rewrite, and production was gearing up to begin that spring. By June 2008, the directing pair had dropped the project to work on Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Ah, yes.
In October 2010, Dimension Films announced via Variety...
Not the Jamie Lee Curtis wig one.
No.
Okay.
That Todd Farmer and Patrick Lussier would be taking on this project of My Bloody Valentine fame. With productions...
Ooh, that'd be good.
Yeah. With productions slated for the new year ahead of the late 2011, early 2012 release. However, in 2011, Farmer confirmed that both he and Lussier were dropped from the project. Wow. May I remind you, Hellraiser Revelations was released in 2011.
Yeah.
And, they thought dropping, experienced horror filmmakers in favour of something like that was a good idea. Yeah. In October 2013, Barker announced that he would be directing and writing the film himself, and Doug Bradley was to return to his role as Pinhead. A year later, Barker stated that a second draft of the script was completed and described the film as a very loose remake of the original film, but said that he may not direct the film after all. In March 2017, Barker said that the film's script was written and delivered to Dimension years ago. That was the last anyone heard anything of the Hellraiser franchise until the announcement of Judgment was made. So they just did not get back to him.
Yes. I feel money is involved in this. And maybe Clive Barker's fee was rather larger than they had wanted.
Yeah.
And maybe the potential budget would be a lot larger than they had anticipated. So they decided to throw out shite.
Which is so stupid, because this is, especially with Todd Farmer and Patrick Lussier, because this is around the time they did My Bloody Valentine 3D and Drive Angry 3D. They were also very much looking at doing a Halloween 3D from carrying on from the Rob Zombie films. So if they were so desperate to keep making these 3D films at that time, 3D Hellraiser, Clive Barker involvement, directors of My Bloody Valentine 3D. That's a fucking guaranteed hit.
Yeah.
That's gonna make money.
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine, did that make money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's guaranteed to be a big hit, but no, they decided to go with Revelations and Judgment instead. But then all roads led to 2022 Hellraiser, directed by David Bruckner, who did The Signal, Talk Show, the Amateur Night segment in VHS, Southbound, The Ritual, 2 episodes of the Creep Show TV show, and The Night House. Now, obviously, we weren't fans of The Night House or The Ritual, so I was a little nervous about this film.
Oh, wow. No, we weren't.
No. It's also written by his writing partners, Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski, who both wrote Super Dark Times, The Night House, Stephanie, Siren, Too Cool for School, This Must Be the Old Fantasy. So, I say writing partners. They made The Night House with him. Also written by David S. Goyer, the writer of the Dark Knight trilogy, Dark City, Flash Forward, Man of Steel, Blade trilogy, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Demonic Toys, and more.
Wow.
It always amuses me that the writer of Demonic Toys and Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. wrote The Dark Knight. Yeah.
And The Substitute.
Uh-huh.
Kickboxer 2.
Yeah. And this film was, thankfully, produced by Clive Barker.
Yes.
Clive Barker had involvement in this film, and it shows. Budget is unknown, and it was straight to video on demand. Honestly, with some of the shit that gets released these days, Pope's Exorcist, I don't know why this didn't get a theatrical release.
I genuinely think that the tale of Hellraiser is essentially, the franchise as a whole is essentially a tale of money.
Yeah.
Not a tale of two cities, please. Not again. But a tale of money and things costing too much, and then not wanting to invest too much money into things.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe not having enough faith in Hellraiser as a whole to be able to make money. Really?
No.
You know, because like I said, like we've said, it is, in my opinion, the worst horror franchise.
Yeah.
It genuinely is. And you know that something like a Nightmare on Elm Street remake is going to make big money.
Yeah.
Number one, because Freddy vs. Jason had made big money,
Uh-huh.
you know, less than 10 years before. But also, it was a tried and tested massive thing.
Yeah.
You know, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th,
Yeah.
Halloween, huge,
Yeah.
huge films. Hellraiser, I mean, straight to video. When did it go straight to video?
4 was the last theatrically released one, I believe. Yeah.
You know, it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
So maybe they just didn't have the faith for it to go theatrical.
No.
It's a shame, really, because Evil Dead Rise has come out and made really great money.
Yes.
And done something that Hellraiser could have done.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, there's money to be made in streaming services now.
Yeah,
it's
there is.
Big business.
And critically, it's been a big improvement compared to the other ones. I mean, it's not difficult, but this is a good film.
Yeah. I mean, particularly in comparison to the other sequels.
Oh my god. Watching it after all the other sequels, Jesus Christ, it is the biggest improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll... Am I right in saying we'll give our rundown?
Yeah.
Top of the pops at the end.
Yeah. So this one actually has actors in it. Should we talk about them? Yes, in a section we like to call, "Hey, I already knew them, but do I know you?" Okay. Odessa Zion plays Riley.
Was that after we get it twice in one episode?
Odessa Zion plays Riley, and she was in Grand Army, Fam, Ghosts, Let's Scare Julie to Death, unfortunately.
Oh,
the
no!
Inhabitant.
Ew! Oh, I hated that
I
film.
know, it was
Oh,
shocking.
good lord.
The Tiny Chef Show.
God bless her.
Super,
Ooh.
super cool. Love Nashville, Wayne, and more. Nashville isn't a TV series. She's
Yeah.
not that old.
No.
But she does a great job. She, the quality in acting between this and Judgment leaps and bounds.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And next up, Jamie Clayton plays the priest. Jamie Clayton, star of The R Word, Designated Survivor, Sense8, The Snowman, The Chain, The Neon Demon, Hung, Dirty Work, Hustling, and more. Idea of the pin-covered head Cenobite being female isn't as new as some bigots, viewers thought. Now, when it was announced that Jamie Clayton was going to be in this, as predicted, the internet was in uproar. Well, a certain side of the internet was in uproar.
Yeah.
A big side of the internet was celebrating this information. People who are familiar with Hellraiser didn't even batter an eyelid because, and I have now read the novel, so I will be making some comparisons. The original character is genderless, and the closest description we get is to a female. So, what's the big deal, guys?
Yeah.
Why are you kicking us such a fuss? It's almost like you're all transphobic.
I mean, in the original film, Pinhead's kind of wearing a dress.
He is.
Like, yeah.
They're fucking demons. Why did it need a gender?
Yeah.
Like, seriously. The rest of the Cenobites in this, there's no gender there.
No.
Like, they're just mutilated humans, but turned into demons. Then there's no gender. It doesn't matter.
No.
But yeah, the internet was crying their eyes out about it. And
Well, it's a certain part of the internet that I don't like to go to.
Yeah. But it's like,
Which sounds a bit
it's
iffy.
very
but you know what I mean.
it is iffy. I mean, it's very predictable. You see posts about this film and Jamie Clayton, you expect the laugh and reacts on Facebook, you go in the comments, you know what you're going to find, and it's fucking disgusting. And people really need to get over themselves and stop worrying about things that really don't concern them. This is one of them. And also, considering Jamie Clayton, phenomenal in this film.
Yeah, very, very good.
Like, she fits that part perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, she is easily, and I really like the film, she's the best thing about it. And I really hope we get to see a sequel with her in it. But yeah, in the original novella, The Hellbound Heart, the corresponding Cenobite was said to have a feminine voice, the only clue to a possible gender a human could perceive. Which makes this more accurate to the novel than the first film.
And interesting for the name to be the priest.
Yeah. Clive Barker hated the Pinhead name.
Really?
He hated it, yeah, because he never named the character that.
No.
More recently, in the Boom Studios Hellraiser comics, written by Clive Barker himself, Kirsty Cotton ended up turning into a female version of Pinhead.
Ooh.
When taking his place as leader of the Cenobites.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would like to have seen that in the which one was she in?
6.
Housey Colors.
Yeah, something like that. Doug Bradley, who originated the role, of course, had this to say about Jamie Clayton's take in a Twitter post. He said, and I quote, "I'm a bit blown away by this. The clever redesign of the makeup, the shimmer of the pinheads, the palette, the whatever that keyhole locket thing is at the throat. It's simple, subtle, disturbing, and sexy. Everything it should be." And he's right.
Yeah.
The design for the Cenobites in this film are incredible. It's amazing what we can get with a bit of effort.
Okay, now you brought it up.
What?
I really like the designs of the Cenobites.
Yeah.
Particularly the priest.
Yeah.
I do think that they go maybe against what the original film was about.
Yeah.
It's not giving me S&M, masochistic, sadist. It's not giving me that kinkiness that the original did. What it's giving me is alien.
What's interesting is the designs of the Cenobites in this film are actually closer to the novel than the original was. Now, I think the original, the leather and everything, I think that was very much a product of its time, and it works. You know, honestly, I think that look is iconic, and it is the image of 80s horror. You know, how far people were willing to go. You know, it was a meme. You know, like we miss when horror icons dress like they were in heavy metal bands in the 80s, and it's a picture of the Cenobites. I like both. I really like both, and I really appreciate how close they went to the novel with the Cenobites in this film, because it's the only thing that they do that involves the novel, apart from the little subplot at the beginning with the Serena character getting people for a boss, a little close to the Julia and Frank thing. But that original Hellraiser novel, The Hellbound Heart, is Frank, Kirsty, Julia, and Rory, who would go on to be Larry in the film.
Yeah.
That's what that novel is. That is that story. So
this
is very far removed, apart from the Cenobite designs.
Yeah. So it's taken a little bit of each. The novel and the film. I just thought the way that the Cenobites looked in the original added an extra layer to that film.
It definitely did.
An extra intrigue. And we discussed it in the episode, so I won't go into it now because you can go back and listen if you haven't heard it.
You'd never seen anything like it.
No.
At that point. You know, you can see where that... Was it the Stephen King quote? I've seen the future of horror. His name is Clive Barker. You can see where it came from.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. And, you know, could praise the original film for hours. Famous American makeup artist and RuPaul's Drag Race season 13 contestant Gottmik was screened in an audition as the film entered pre-production for the role of Pinhead, having been seen by Bruckner in his Drag Race finale extravaganza look that was Pinhead.
Yes.
Whilst Gottmik ultimately did not secure the role, like actress Jamie Clayton, both are prominent trans artists and both are amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
I do.
And that look on Drag Race that Gottmik did.
Yeah.
Incredible.
We love when they do the horror touches on Drag Race. It brings together everything we love.
Yeah. Adam Faison plays Colin. He is in Everything's Gonna Be Okay, Into the Dark, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Wilder Than Her, Daphne and Velma, Here and Now, Liberty Crossing, and more.
Not Daphne and Velma. Oh, dear.
Remember that was a thing? I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a sequel, Daphne and Celeste.
Shut up. Drew Starkey plays Trevor. He was in Love, Simon, Screen the TV series, Just Mercy, The Hate You Give, Outer Banks, Mine 9, The Terminal List, The Devil All the Time, and more.
That Calvin Klein advert we watched?
No, that's not him. That's the final one. That's Brandon Flynn, who plays Matt, star of the Calvin Klein underwear advertisement. And also 13 Reasons Why, True Detective, Looks That Kill, Ratched, Noise, Binge, Brain Dead, and Acting for a Course. I feel like he's been in more than he's actually been in, because I really liked him in 13 Reasons Why. I thought he was really good in that. And I think, you know, he gets very little screen time in this. But yeah.
We've got Goran Vishnjic. I do apologise. Playing Roland Voigt. So he was most famous for ER.
Okay.
He was in ER for a very long time. But he's been in loads. Practical Magic, Beginners. He was in Elektra, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Ice Age.
Oh, wow.
Yes. We also have Selena Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
She was in 28 Weeks Later, Boss Level, The Scorpion King 3, Battle for Redemption. And Selena Lowe plays The Gasp.
The Gasp? Okay.
Coming to Cultplex in June. Tickets still available.
Yes, they are. We'll promote that somewhere at the end of the episode. Is that it?
Yes.
Well, then let's talk about our second feature presentation.
It's time. Their blood, their pain, all for us.
What is it you
pay for.
Serena Menikar, a strong businesswoman who's a lawyer for hedonistic millionaire Roland Voigt, exchanges briefcases with a man in Serbia. She has money in the one she hands over, and we don't see what's in the other one she's given. She is serving a look.
She is. She's it's giving business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish there was a little more colour, but I can see what they're going with.
Definitely going for Julia, going around the bars, picking up men. Because that's pretty much what her character is.
Ah, it was a little more fab. Oh, come on.
Yeah, she's
Julie
not
would have
quite
put a
that,
little bit of
yeah.
lippy and some eyeshadow on.
Well, during a party at Roland Voigt's mansion, sex worker Joey meets Serena, and she tells him that Voight would love to meet him.
Yeah, not the most exciting of parties, let's
No.
be honest. It's got nothing on Hellraiser Hellworld. That's a
No,
party.
That is a party, yeah.
Who's...
Lance Henriksen is not there.
No, and Superman's not getting a blowy.
No. Joey...
Superman, who was his name?
Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah, Henry Cavill. Oh, okay.
What?
So 2 different people have played Superman, haven't they? In the Amy Adams films.
No.
No?
No, it's always been Henry Cavill.
And what's his name? Oh, was that Brandon Road?
Oh God, that was part of the.
Was that not Amy
original...
Adams?
No.
Oh, fucking hell. There's a franchise that's a
Let's not go there. Joey, named as a homage to the douchebag nightclub owner from Hellraiser 3, walks. He is.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, genuinely. He walks into a room that looks as though the roof has been designed after the lament configuration. He meets Voight and comes across a mechanical puzzle box, which Voight insists he solves. Now, it's quite a different design here. It's like stretched out, but obviously there's a different configuration for each shape that it does. Something we've never really had explained to us in the other films.
Not really, but at this point, it looks like Hellbound.
Yeah.
The big sort of diamond-shaped thing.
Yeah. So Joey says, so if I solve it, do I get a prize? And Voight says, I do.
Yeah, Voight. Gay?
It's definitely reading that way.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Joey, who's sex worker, was maybe lured in there in the pretense of being paid for some sex.
Yeah, that's how it works. Joey solves the configuration and is stabbed by a blade that springs from the box. Voight locks him in the room and a portal opens from which chains fly out and rip him apart. Now, when we first watched this did have me a little nervous because it was very much in the background and you don't see it as graphically as you do in the first film. But, I mean, that's solved later on. This is a very gory film when it gets into it.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, it happens all the time in Hellraiser. It's like, how many different ways can this happen?
Yeah.
Really. In the first film, it was shocking. In the second one, a little less shocking.
Yeah.
So they went other ways. In the third film, less shocking. And, you know, it's been repeated for decades now. So I don't necessarily have to see it.
No.
I know what it is. Because this is, I don't know if you would agree with me, but I don't necessarily think this is a remake for people not familiar with the original.
Well, I don't think
it necessarily is.
It's difficult because I feel like anyone not familiar with the franchise can watch this film just as its own thing.
Yeah.
And wouldn't be lost on it.
No, not necessarily.
But I feel like it is made for the fans. Unlike the sequels, I feel like this was made for the fans.
Yeah, I do feel that way. Especially with Clive Barker being involved.
Yeah.
I feel like there is references to the original that, you know, will hit differently with, you know, an audience familiar. So I don't necessarily have to see it all the time. Because it happens again.
Yeah.
You know? It's probably the only way people are killed.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Yeah.
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 6 years later, recovering addict Riley is living with her brother Matt, his boyfriend Colin, and their roommate Nora. And we're introduced to her while she's having sex with her boyfriend Trevor. So, yes, this film has gay people, sex, 2 sex scenes, and gore.
Yeah.
It's a Hellraiser film.
It's a Hellraiser film. The sex scenes I have issues with, much like Matt has issues with. Because he is annoyed with her, and I don't blame him. No one wants to hear their sibling having sex whilst trying to
No.
cook dinner
No.
with other people in the room. It's highly inappropriate. Actually, make that anyone, not just her siblings. No, I don't want to hear anyone. If I'm cooking up a delicious dinner, I don't want to hear you banging next door.
Wow, that touched a raw nerve.
It's
Trevor's...
never, it hasn't happened to me. But you understand what I mean. Like, there's a time and a place, guys.
Yeah. Trevor's introduced to everyone who Riley lives with. Matt doesn't like Trevor and is concerned because Riley and Trevor met at a 12-step program. So, I mean, the whole idea of Riley being an addict, it works in the same way it worked in Evil Dead 2013. In the way that when this crazy shit goes down, of course people are going to be like, well, of course, you've took something. Like,
yes, yeah.
Like, that's, what's happened there, obviously.
And I think it gives spoiler alert, Riley is our final girl in this. It gives her an extra layer that I think was lacking in other characters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, it's something that was, there wasn't much development for Kirsty in the original.
No. No.
It's nice to have a character with layers.
But the original isn't necessarily Kirsty's story, I didn't
That's true.
think.
That's true. It's very much Julia and Frank.
It's Julia and Frank's story.
Trevor convinces Riley to help break into an abandoned storage warehouse where they discover and take the puzzle box. Returning home late, Riley gets into an argument with Matt and leaves.
Very condescendingly, whilst they're trying to open the safe, what's his name? Trevor says to Riley, "There's no way you're going to get it open if I couldn't." Fuck you.
Well, yeah, I mean, she outlives him, so...
When she argues with Matt and leaves, just before that, Matt and Colin are in bed, and Colin's reading some Lord Byron to him.
Are you sure it's not the Two Cities?
It's not a Tale of Two Cities, please. Please, no. It's Lord Byron. And just like, we're watching it. I was like, okay, this is super gay. Yeah. This ain't even gay. Yeah. This is like super... This is shirtless men reading poetry to each other.
This is made for the gays.
I do think so.
This is straight people are going to watch this, and the specific type of straight people are going to turn it off at that scene.
When they're arguing, Matt does say, I love you to Riley, and Riley says, you love having something to fix so that you can feel better. Mm-hmm. Which I think is an interesting look at their relationship, which plays into the finale of the film, really. Uh-huh.
Yeah. At an empty park, she solves the box and avoids being cut by the blade. The Cenobites appear and demand she chooses another sacrifice. So again, as we mentioned, in place of the Cenobites' clothing in the original franchise being PVC, fetish wear, and forms of latex, the clothing of the reboot Cenobites, including Pinhead and Chatterer, is their mutilated flesh disjointed into body coverage separated by their protruding muscle tissue. It was decided by David Bruckner and Clive Barker early on that the Cenobites would appear as they were originally depicted in the novel, as both felt the BDSM scene, which inspired the 80s films, was too mainstream now to be as effective as it was in 1987.
Okay.
Which just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. I'm pretty sure one of them has a very obvious vagina.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not covering then, is it?
Well... but yeah, I really, again, the designs are great, and this is your first look at them. I feel like the first time I watched it, I thought it was far too dark. I didn't think it was as bad on a rewatch. It is dark, but I feel like it's lit in such a way where it kind of leaves some of it up to the imagination, which kind of makes it a little creepier.
Okay. Yeah.
But lit well enough to where you can still see what's going on.
Well, they're well lit later on in the film,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah. Matt finds Riley blacked out, and as he tries to wake her up, he cuts himself on the box.
Oh no.
And he goes to a nearby restroom to clean his wound.
Well, he's woken up, isn't he, by
Yeah.
chains coming out of Riley's chest, and what I'm assuming is some sort of dream sequence or something created by the Cenobites. He's woken up, and therefore, I think subconsciously he is the one that she has chosen.
Yeah.
Because of their connection and the argument that they had and such. So subconsciously, she is the one. He is the one that she has chosen. He goes to find her and then cuts himself, and that's it. That's the end of Matt.
Yeah, he goes to a nearby restroom to clean his wound. Riley hears him scream and discovers that he's vanished.
Yeah, with just some blood left in the sink.
Which the police say they can't do anything about.
Yeah.
Riley tells Colin and Nora about the box and what she saw. Colin just reminds her that he told her not to leave the apartment the night before, and she storms out to go and have sex with Trevor again. But they're interrupted by Chatterer watching them.
Yeah.
Teeth are actually moving this time.
Yes, that's true. Bigger budget, why does Trevor have such a nice apartment but needs to steal for money?
Rough and ready character of a really nice apartment.
Yeah, but actually, I wrote that in my notes, but I think that's kind of revealed.
I think it is
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sex scene doesn't last very long. Again, really inappropriate. Your brother has just gone missing. Presumed dead because there's blood all over the bathroom where he was, and you're getting a quickie in.
Well, clearly she's getting some good dick if she's that desperate for it all the time.
We see his backside in the shower before.
That we do again. May I remind you, this film is made for the gays.
Definitely.
Riley tells Trevor about what happened and how she believes the box is responsible. So they track down Serena, who had hidden it in the warehouse. She's now in a hospital.
Yeah, she's having some sort of respiratory issues, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she hasn't got long left.
No, bless her. She's not slaying so much anymore. Serena tells them that what they're looking for ended Voight's life and will end theirs too. She tries to take the box from Riley, but is inadvertently cut by the blade, and Riley and Trevor just leave, and the box begins to solve itself again in the back of their car.
Oh. Serena describes Voight as a very cruel man, and he referred to the Cenobites as angels. He said angels he used to call them. You'd think a devil would know a devil, which I thought was I quite like that. It was almost poetic, without being convoluted and boring,
like Judgment. Back in the hospital, we get a really nice nod to Hellraiser 2, where she's wheeled through, and as she's wheeled through, the hospital's changing, the walls are changing, and the Cenobites appear.
Yes.
She tries to run from them, but
you love?
Yeah. She tries to run, but she's cornered and taken away by them.
She runs, I mean, God bless her, she runs a lot better than I thought she would.
Mm-hmm.
Considering she's on, death's door.
Yeah.
But yeah, props to you, Mama.
And this is where I first noticed the soundtrack to this film is fucking so good. I really love the soundtrack. I love how it took little bits from the original score and threw it in there.
Yeah. They're the only bits that I really remember, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, everyone expects that. They've listened to other episodes. It's fine.
Yeah, cool.
Chris Barker, the man who does not hear soundtracks.
Well,
post 90s.
I mean, I hear great soundtracks.
Well, Riley visits Voight's abandoned mansion, finding his journals and learning that the box has multiple configurations, each of which requires a victim to be marked by the box's blade for the Cenobites to take. Nice little addition added. I don't mind it.
It's something that makes it a little different. Maybe it's a little elaborate, but I'm okay with it because it does do something different. But it's not completely, out there.
Yeah.
It allows it up a little bit.
It allows for a bigger body count.
Yeah, just you're not. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No.
If you can add a few sparkles and maybe a blue streak on there, it'd be nice.
On completion, the box allows its holder to receive a gift from Leviathan,
Ooh.
the entity that rules over Hell. Riley sees an apparition of Matt. She hugs him, but is horrified when she looks in the mirror to discover he has no skin.
Is it really you? Do you want it to be me? Don't know why I made that romantic.
I know, yeah.
Okay. I was going for camp, but it sounds romantic. Anyway, carry on.
Trevor, Colin, and Nora arrive to take Riley home. Whilst Riley explains her findings to Colin, the still living but mutilated Voight, who is hiding inside the walls, stabs Nora with the box.
Yeah. Nora? Who the fuck's Nora?
The roommate.
The roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think that Nora had an exceptionally British accent?
She had a very British accent.
Now,
I'm
the
not
actress...
sure-
No, Aoife Hines, the actress, is from London.
Wow.
But it felt like it was really put on.
Yeah.
Like, really strong.
She really made a point about having a British
Like,
accent.
really. But it's not like the rest of the cast sounded really American.
No,
It's
no.
just sounded really British. But that London, but like not like Cockney, but that London, posh London.
Yeah.
As I would say. Yeah, Nora, we barely knew ya.
But she has what is probably my favourite scene in the film.
That is true.
They escape the mansion in the van, but Nora is taken by the Cenobites, and this scene is fucking amazing. It is so good.
Yes.
This one scene is better than all of the sequels combined, apart from part 2. The leader, the priest, chains up Nora, taunts her, takes a pin out of her own head, sticks it through Nora's neck with great detail seen from the inside of her fucking throat. Chatterer pulls her down from the hooks, ripping the skin off her back, and that's it.
It's giving... Is she the killer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. The effects are great. Really unsettling. But I feel like because we didn't know Nora...
Yeah,
I think
it's a shame it was given to her.
It feels less impactful from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah.
It is. It's very good, very well done. But, I mean, I barely knew Nora.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But I think the main thing about this scene is just showing off that performance by Jamie Clayton, because her screen presence, as soon as she enters, is like, okay, fucking chills. Like, she is incredible. Like,
Yeah.
Like, it's a perfect fit. It really is.
It's
Her voice, the line delivery.
This is gonna sound like it's not a compliment, but it's almost dead behind the eyes, but in an acting way.
Yeah.
Very stone faced, very which is what it's meant to be.
Yeah. The group realizes Nora's gone. They crash the van and walk back towards the mansion. Riley is confronted by the priest, who offers to resurrect Matt if Riley chooses 2 more sacrifices. Riley refuses and is cut by the blade herself.
Oh no.
Now that she's marked, the priest commands Riley to choose 2 more sacrifices or become a victim herself.
Yeah, I'd find 2 more. I didn't really understand why 2 more sacrifices was happening twice.
More souls.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it's like, oh, I won't do it for Matt. Oh, then do it for yourself. Like, okay. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I'm like, can I cut a little bit of that out?
After Trevor is bitten by Chatterer, Riley solves the next configuration and stabs it. Chatterer gets torn to pieces as the next sacrifice.
Yeah, and now this is the original, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is. I could see why they chose Chatterer for it,
Mhm.
so they could use a little bit of CGI in there. But yeah, it looks fine. I just feel like, why would Chatterer get involved? If
What? I mean,
Do
all the
you-
Cenobites are getting involved.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Why have they chosen now to get involved? If Riley's finding two new sacrifices, why are they getting involved now when they hadn't actually physically got involved before?
True, but it does lead
because
to
it
the...
just puts them in a place to get stabbed. I just think it's a cheap writing. Do you understand what I mean?
It does lead into the rest of the film, though, where the Cenobites are very much more... They're going to come after you and get you in this one.
After this point.
After this point, Yeah.
I just felt it was convenient for the plot.
Yeah.
And maybe it could have been cut.
Riley and Colin leave Trevor to rest. But first they go back to the mansion, realizing there's steel doors designed to lock the Cenobites out. And from this point on, it kind of becomes a fun sort of William Castle-esque haunted house film, almost, where the Cenobites are the demons coming after them. I thought that was really fun.
Well, it's Night of the Living Dead, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're stuck inside whilst they're waiting, but they're all.
I just thought the
arguing with each
mansion.
other.
Yeah, I thought the mansion was a really good setting for it.
Well, it's 13 Ghosts remake.
Okay, well, I'd like to give the film the compliment, so there you go. It's coming from me. Jesus Christ. Riley and Colin leave Trevor to rest.
Hey, we enjoyed the 13 Ghosts remake, didn't we?
Did we?
Did we?
Not as much as this, I don't think.
It's hard to remember.
Exactly. But the house is given 13 ghosts. Like, the ceiling and everything does remind me of that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I thought that was
it
an
is,
insult.
It's revealed that Trevor has been working for Voight to find people to sacrifice to the puzzle box.
He has, and he's a bastard for it, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
Bastard. That will explain the nice apartment.
It would, yeah.
Yes. He's been doing it for the money.
He's had his sugar daddy all along.
Think he's gonna pay my mortgage?
Yes.
Yes.
Riley and Colin trap a Cenobite, the Asphyx, to become the last sacrifice. But Voight appears and stabs Colin with the box.
Yeah. So this is where we really see the Cenobites for the first time together. So you really see them in detail. And like I said earlier, it is giving Alien for me rather than kinky S&M demon. But I think that works, and if that's in keeping with the novel, it's a nice way again to separate from the original.
Yeah. Voight reveals that he sought new pleasurable sensations after completing all of his sacrifices, but his reward was a contraption attached to him that twists his nerve endings, leaving him in constant pain. And it is quite the contraption.
It is. I mean, it's such a cool visual.
Yeah.
It's giving a bit sore,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? But I love the details on it. I love being able to see his sort of nerves being twisted and such. Yeah, I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah. So he completes the final configuration and traps the Cenobites, demanding that they ask Leviathan to free him from his gift. Whilst Leviathan appears in the sky above the mansion, Riley retrieves the box and unlocks the steel doors, letting in the Cenobites. The visual of Leviathan above the mansion is so good. Again, feels like a Hellraiser 2 throwback, and it looks amazing.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. The priest tells Voight that his reward cannot be revoked, but can be traded for a different reward. She offers him power, which he accepts. Riley saves Colin from torture by stabbing Trevor, choosing him as a new final sacrifice, and honestly deserved.
Yeah, totally deserved. Love that visual of Trevor's skin being peeled off his arm. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. The effects in this are really, really good.
Yeah. Colin is, he's released, and Trevor is mutilated and dragged to hell.
Drag race to hell.
Voight is released from his contraption and healed, only to be immediately impaled with a large chain by Leviathan and lifted away when the priest says the iconic line, "We have such sights to show you."
Yes, and she does it justice.
She does.
Definitely.
Yeah. With the sacrifices completed, the Cenobites tell Riley they can resurrect Matt as a gift. And in a shocking turn of events, because obviously, you think, oh, of course she's going to take that. Of course he's going to come back to life. She refuses. She refuses to have any gift because she knows it is always going to be twisted, and tells them that she'll accept Matt's death.
Yeah, which is really interesting. The Cenobites tell her that by choosing to live with her guilt and loss, she has effectively chosen the gift of lament, and lament being a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. So Riley's suffering has just begun and will be a mental or an emotional rather than a physical suffering like Trevor and Voight.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is essentially punished, in a way, for their misdoings, and Riley will have to live with the fact that she is solely responsible for her brother's death. I mean, fuck Nora's drag, of course. Who's Nora? But I thought that was a really interesting part of the film, because Hellraiser as a whole has really focused on physical suffering, and the visuals of these physical suffering is what the franchise is most famous for. But the emotional suffering, I thought, was an interesting twist. And ultimately it goes back to Riley will be questioning her decisions, not just to open the box, but also the fact that she met Riley in a 12-step program, and if she had never partaken in drugs, it would never have gotten to this point. And I thought that was really, really interesting.
It is. The box reverts to its cube lament configuration, and the Cenobites disappear.
See ya.
As Riley and Colin leave the mansion, he asks her if she made the right choice, and Riley remains silent. And then, just when the film, you think it's finished, we get to see inside Leviathan where Voight undergoes a brutal transformation into a new Cenobite, and it is fucking brutal. Really saved the nastiest scene for last.
Skin being ripped off. We do get a close up of his knob.
We do,
and I feel that gets ripped off.
It does get ripped off.
It does. Yes.
Yeah, he's had certain pins are shoved into his face. Either side of his mouth's ripped open. It is nasty, and it is a great scene to end the film on.
Yeah, I think it encapsulates everything that Hellraiser is about.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just live at the mansion?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there'd be complications with electric and water and stuff, and set it all up.
Oh. Just thought at the end they were like, you might as well just live there. Everyone else has been drag raced to hell.
Yeah.
You might as well just live there. It's a nice place. Spruce it up. Everyone you know is dead anyway, so.
Well, that's Hellraiser 2022.
Yes, Hellraiser, the remake, 2022.
Yeah. Now, when I first watched this, I thought it dragged in places. I had like a fair few complaints about it. But on this rewatch and analysing it for the podcast, I really fucking loved this film. It sold me. On this rewatch, it really sold me. The runtime went by fast. Doesn't need to be 2 hours, probably not. But it went by a lot quicker this time around. I love the acting and the effects and the soundtrack. And it is just so nice and refreshing to actually have a fucking good Hellraiser film for the first time since 1988.
Yes, I mostly agree with what you're saying. I thought the visuals were great, the gore was great, which is why we watched these films. I do feel like it did drag in parts. Some of it was rather dull. I don't think the characters were the best written as a whole. It didn't need to be 2 hours, but I loved the incarnation of the Cenobites, and I loved everything in it that made Hellraiser great.
Yeah.
You know, the gore, the ridiculous moments, you know, the Cenobites. They're the things that we remember from the Hellraiser franchise, and I think it really did it justice. Like you said, you know, I thought that the priest was a great version of Pinhead.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, Clive Barker, and I thought the actress did a fantastic job. And I'm totally forgetting her name.
Jamie Clayton.
Jamie Clayton did a great job.
So for ratings, I give it 8 strong businesswomen providing victims for their boss out of 10.
I give it 6. Why are you having sex at the most inappropriate times? Out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash or basic. None of the above for me. I think it's just a solid modern horror film, but it is a masterpiece compared to Hellraiser Parts 3 to 9.
That is very true. I think it's a fine film.
It's available on DVD and video on demand. Yes, this one didn't get a Blu-ray release, but Judgment did. If you enjoyed this, I recommend checking out Evil Dead 2013.
I completely agree with Gary. I couldn't think of any other film. Evil Dead 2013.
Now let's get to the awards. And as anyone knows who's listened to the other Hellraiser episodes, we're only handing out awards to one film with an overall winner. Biggest Queen. It's going to go to Riley, really, in the remake.
Oh, okay.
Why are you giving it to?
The priest in the remake.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It depends what you watch the film for.
That's true. Biggest gasp, I've got Voight's Cenobite transformation in the remake.
I chose Nora's death in the remake.
Best dialogue, I have... Now, I know it's taken from the original, but for this film and for the line delivery from Jamie Clayton, we have such sights to show you.
Okay, nice choice. I went with that cocksucker owes me 2 months' rent.
Yeah, and for That's Camp, Heather Langenkamp playing a swearing landlady in cheap leopard print in Hellraiser Judgment.
Heather Langenkamp in cheap leopard print saying cocksucker.
Heather Langenkamp.
Langenkamp.
So if there's a winner, it's obviously the remake. I mean, let's not be silly here. Now...
That sounds like a tie to me.
No, I gave one more to the remake.
Jokes.
Now, it's time for our definitive ranking of the Hellraiser franchise.
Yes. You say definitive. I get a little lost when it comes to some of them. So, as it gets to the tail end of things, so the lowest ranked ones, it gets a little muddled for me.
Lucky for you, we're starting at the tail end.
Okay.
So, in at number 11 for me, and I really hope for you as well, it's Hellraiser Revelations.
It's Hellraiser Revelations.
One of the worst films ever made.
Yes, it is.
Number 10, I have Hellraiser Deader.
I have Judgment.
Wow.
But they're interchangeable.
They're half
These are so bad. Half-star films. Yeah, apart from Revelations, which is really... Yeah. Ugh.
Hellraiser Judgment is at number 9 for me.
Deader at number 9 for me.
And at number 8 is Hellraiser Bloodline.
Ooh, 8 for me is Hellseeker.
That's my number 7.
Bloodline is my number 7.
And at number 6 is Hellraiser Hellworld.
Hey! And at number 6, Hellraiser Hellworld.
At number 5 is Hellraiser Inferno.
I agree.
And now I can guarantee our top 4 is going to be the same.
Yes.
And at number 4 is Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth.
That's correct.
And at number 3... No, that was number 4. And at number 3 is Hellraiser 2022.
That's correct.
And at number 2 is Hellbound Hellraiser 2.
Oh, no.
And at number 1 is, of course, Clive Barker's original horror masterpiece, Hellraiser.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's be honest. For me personally, I will watch the first 2 again and again. The rest, not so much. And any 5th past Hellraiser 3, I will never watch again in my life.
Yeah.
Abysmal. Really just... Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope you've enjoyed these podcast episodes because I've had a terrible time.
Hellraiser 3 is a trash to piece. There's some enjoyment to be found there.
Yeah.
Couple of beers with friends. I could definitely see myself revisiting the remake again. But yeah, the first two are classics, and you know, come on, there's no way to watch anything between 4 and 9 again.
Point. There's no point. They're not even camp.
No.
It's so sad. It's so sad where the franchise went, and I'm very pleased that 2022 was a decent film, film, because it really was. Ooh, you know, and I'd hate for that to be Clive Barker's legacy.
I'm excited to see,
even though obviously he didn't have anything to do with it, but
Yeah.
it is always going to be Clive Barker's Hellraiser.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where they go next. Now that we're in a good place.
Do you think they'll go somewhere?
I
or
hope
just
so.
leave it at that?
I want to see more Jamie Clayton in that role.
True. It was a big success, wasn't it? I mean, it was.
I mean, people watched
quite
it.
high on
Yeah,
streaming.
people liked it, so yeah.
But it's one of those things with streaming. It lasts about a week and then people forget.
Yeah. Well, did you enjoy it? What's your favourite Hellraiser film? It's got to be the first one. We're Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook and Instagram, Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. I'm dead at Gaz92 on Letterboxd, Gaz9205 on Instagram, and GazCruise92 on Twitter.
I'm Chris Barker823 on Instagram and Letterboxd.
And as Chris reminded you earlier on in the episode, we are Gasp Horror Fest across all social media, and our festival will be taking place on the 17th and 18th of June. Yes, during Pride Month at Cultplex in Manchester.
Get your tickets.
And if you enjoyed what you heard here, and if you weren't involved with the making of Hellraiser Judgment, give us a rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, and a like and follow and everything else.
Please don't hate me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I have to say how I feel.
Tuesday, we are giving you the first of our guest episodes for this Pride Month. And we will be joined by returning guest Ben Simpson to discuss Norman J. Warren's Prey.
Yes, love a guest episode. Really looking forward to that one. Yes.
So we'll be back same time, same place on Tuesday.
Bye.